Good morning, Warren Peacock here. Today's relative strength shows the Australian dollar gaining quite a bit of ground over last week. Had an average of 9 overall, now has a score of 12 overall. That continues to be on the smaller time frames, hourly with a score of 5, 4 hourly with a score of 5. So it has certainly gained some ground. We'll have to just see whether it maintains it. At the moment, it's holding up pretty strongly. We can see last week had scores of 4, that dropped a little bit on that day, and then 4, 4, and 3. So certainly seems to be holding on to its strength. Whether that will continue, I'm not sure. The Australian Reserve Bank is under pressure to drop interest rates again, but they've maintained their stance of wait and see. So we'll have to see what happens in their economy before these charts change. The Euro's gained some ground. It now has a score of 5 over an average last week of 3. On the hourly, it's up at 4 points, and the 4 hourly has now gained 1 point. The euro strength, I don't see it continuing for any length of time, but we don't know. The charts will tell us. The daily charts still shows the euro as the weakest, so the euro doesn't excite me too much on the longs just yet. The yen has lost a bit of ground, down at a score of 9 now from an overall average of 11 last week. So that has lost some ground on the daily and the 4 hourly charts. The hourly, it's down at a score of 1. So yen does appear to be under some pressure. The US dollar was the biggest loser. Last week's average overall score was 19, now sitting on a score of 12 overall. Again, that is the shorter time frames changing. So dollar weak on the hourly chart has lost 2 points on the 4 hourly chart. So certainly under pressure. That can just be profit taking on dollar longs. The daily chart hasn't changed yet, still has a score of 7. Let's go and have a look at the charts now, with the Aussie dollar being the strongest overall and the pound being the weakest. Euro dollar still trending down on the dailies. Australian dollar and the US dollar sharing strongest point on the 4 hourlies, with the pound being the weakest. And then the hourly shows the Australian dollar strong and the US dollar weakest. So we're going to start off with the Australian dollar pound, or should I say pound Aussie dollar. And we can see for 2 years it's been trending up since about the end of March, April uh, 2013. Has continued higher. It's made new highs, but this kind of swinging action does show some hesitancy if you compare it to the previous trend. Was reasonably smooth in comparison. So I think, should the pound Aussie break below the trend line and the 2189 crossover, I'll probably have a look at that for a short. On the daily time frame, we've still got the euro US dollar being the weakest currency pair. It still remains strongly in a downtrend. It's not even breaking above the 21 yet. It hasn't reached resistance, that little resistance level there. If you remember, a couple days ago, we looked at quite a strong cluster of support here. So there certainly seems to be some profit taking on the euro dollar, maybe a bit of a short squeeze, just creating some liquidity. We'll have to see how things happen. You could probably look at the smaller time frames for some smaller trades. The next one would be the pound Aussie dollar on a 4 hour chart. We can go and have a look there. 21's crossed below the 89, but it's still in this range. I'm not too excited about shorting that just yet. The pound dollar, similar to the euro dollar, battling to break above that resistance level. It's in a support zone down here. We've got a lot of whiplash, a lot of railway tracks. We'll have to see how it pans out. This long-term chart is still strongly in a downtrend. The 89 would have to be broken, 21 cross above the 89 before I look at any longs on the pound versus the dollar. I'm not sure whether Yellen sort of mentioning that dollar strength is a problem at the moment, whether that's enough to change the trend on the dollar. I think the market is still quite bullish on it. On the hourly chart, we're going to have a look at the Australian dollar, US dollar. Uh, Before we do that, we can just see that the daily trend is strongly down. Australian dollar, US dollar battling to break above resistance zones. We're just going to have a look at the hourly chart. We can see quite strong resistance in this area. I'm not too excited about this chart just yet. I think it would have to really strongly break out of that consolidation to give us any long ideas. But that would be against the overall daily trend, strongly down. At this point, I'm not really interested in any of these trades. I would keep to the daily trends, which leaves me with the euro US dollar and the pound US dollar on the smaller time frames for shorts in direction of that daily trend. Thank you very much, and we shall chat again tomorrow.